you and you nice with the spit. I go for mine, I go for broke, I'ma go bananas. I gotta hit the road and take my little man bananas, y'all. I go for mine, and I go and
Peace.
overdrive. I never told
Infinite
the
the cool RT coming live. Mental Arts Dojo 09. Mr. C.Shreve himself in his prime. Jeez. Freestyling off the dome. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Go for mine. C.Shreve RT. C.Shreve the professor.
Expect the burn. Old plans expired, something next to learn. No stands higher than the flex what you earn. No stands higher than the flex what you earn. Hold hands with fire, expect the burn. Old plans expired, something no stands higher than the flex what you earn. No stands higher than the flex what you earn. Yeah, I go for mine. And I go in overdrive. I never told the line, and I'm working overtime.
Sir. Peace, IT. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, IT. How are you?
Just out here, you know what I'm saying? Quarantine life. We are back. Listening to your verses, bumping them on repeat, just vibing out, you know? How you been, IT? Chilling, hopefully? Doing well?
I've been good, just, doing, hanging in there like we all are, in my own version of that.
Big facts, big facts. I see that. I mean, I just see you getting busy on the gram, getting busy with the verses, getting busy with everything. You know, just trying to turn the volume up a little bit.
Yeah, man, it's good to have a reason to, too. It's good to have, like, this series and things like this that, give people a reason to, just to be motivated to, create a piece, just like kind of have that constraint of like, all right, we need it by Thursday night. You got to get it done. That's good. That's good. That's a good thing.
Thank you, IT. Yeah, I mean, it's like, for me, it just adds to the motivation piece, kind of seeing every IT come through with like masterful bars, like being able to kind of just kind of keep pushing and, work off each other type of thing, right? So, I mean, it's super dope that you're here with us. It's super dope that, we were able to get a contribution from you, get a nice source out here. And just ask a quick question. You did the beat yourself, right? Like you sampled?
Yeah, I made, that's all. I made that whole beat, there's on my IG. My most recent post on the IG is me. It's just a 4-bar finger drum, like straight live. I just looped that back around. I didn't even you can see the full 4-bar take, and then you hear it loop back in, and then I just made that 4 bars into a 32 and just used that to write to.
Super ill. It's very hip hop-esque, like it has that nice feel that like, ooh, like, it's wavy, right?
Yeah. That's been a big thing for me this quarantine, has been trying to learn production. I always wanted to produce and wanted to be able to, at the show, just like have a breakdown where I just flip a couple beats or have like a little, dance vibe for 5 minutes, whatever, but just to mix it, just so you could mix it up. Because you feel pressured to rap. You're always wanting to rap and fill it with bars. And, if you don't play an instrument up on the stage, you're kind of like, I should be rapping. So it's cool. I got used to sharing with the DJ, like, oh, put the light on him. And then I was like, man, if he's not here, how can I do something? So the drum machine is my way. When we get back out there, I'm going to try to mix that into the live set as kind of a new wrinkle, basically.
100%. And so you just started producing right when like quarantine started, or?
I have had a couple of drum machines here and there, but really having the time to do this. I mean, I kind of started
like zoning in kind of.
Yeah, I got the Machine Plus like back in October. And that clicked for me back in the day before quarantine. Like the last tour I did in Florida, I took a drum machine out. I just used it as like to cue up my set. It was just to help have continuity, and they would treat you more like a professional because the sound man, you don't look like a rapper anymore. Like, oh, you gonna play some beats? Okay, let's sound check. And so I realized it was a smart way to tour. It was to have a drum machine. So, but that was just like an SP404, and I was okay with it. But I understood it. It made sense. It was layering.
Those are the smaller ones, right? The ones that
it's mine has like 12 pads, and then I don't even use it for finger drumming as much. I use it for like, you can EQ your mic live. You can EQ your whole, like the beat. Like, some beats, man, like certain beats, they're awesome, but maybe the hi-hat's too high, and that about your live mix.
Yeah.
I can just take it out, and I don't have to wait for somebody to take it out. It's right there. So I like that I can kind of live mix. I don't mix much. I just do a little, it needs more thump, turn the bass up type thing. I've got lows, mediums, and highs right there. I can do way more with it, but I don't do that much. Or I didn't before. This was back in February. This was a year ago, basically, before everything shut down. So, but yeah, I was using it in a like kind of a effective way, but I wasn't producing. I wasn't making beats. I was just using it I I put beats on it, and then I would use it to organize my set, basically. But so like this fall with the machine is a straight, you know, I started trying to fully produce stuff and messing with it. So I'm only a few months in. I'm like, it's since October. So I'm like 4 months in or so, you're coming up on that.
That's
in a
still
little
crazy.
bit.
That's still crazy.
But you just mess with, it's like writing raps, man. It's like nobody has to show you how. You just like, okay, I like how this sounds. Like I love, I listen to a beat, you listen to like some premiere that you love, and then just, all right, I like that it goes boom, 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 and then just like do that. Just find the drum.
But it takes so much patience though. Like I bought a beat
does.
pad and I had it for like 2 years, never touched it, and then like
that happened to
I
me
gave it
too.
away to a buddy of mine. But it's like, you know, you have to have that like that persistence. It's not like, I feel like it's a bit harder to pick up once you start rapping. So I think for me when I started rapping, I got used to it. I hate picking up something new, sadly, but I got to get into that groove, you know. So
it doesn't feel good to feel like a beginner always, you know. You feel like, oh man, I thought, like, well, if you're an expert rapper, if you're like, I got bars with that, and you know what a good beat sounds like, you're good at picking beats. Like you're like, oh, this is trash. What is this? You know, and then. So that's like, I'm like, delete. I'm not keeping that one. Don't keep that session. But like, I don't know. I'm starting to get the feel of it and realize like now I'm listening to beats from other people, and now I'm kind of like, oh man, I would have loved this if you didn't bring the horns in right there. Or I'm starting to listen to the producer ear, and so that's I'm realizing now I'm gonna take some of the production, I'm gonna put it on that other drum machine and do some like little mini beat sets, and like I'm gonna use that same organization I had before. It's like it's just less of a complex drum machine. I don't need the full tilt like machine out there on tour, but the other one's perfect. And so now I'm gonna take some of those beats, the loops I've made, like the one I made for this is perfect. Throw that on a couple pads and then layer it, and like the crowd will love to watch bass kick in, snares kick in, and then drop them out, rap over it. It'll look crazy. So I think that's kind of my new game.
It's better be dope. It's better be dope, IT. Like I know for me, I've always wanted to produce, and I feel like it steps up your rap game once you actually learn how to produce. Because I know even for somebody like Doom or Quasimodo, like when you do both, I feel like it just makes you one step better. You got that that experience. You know what I'm saying? So
you start
I feel
to think in a different way.
Dope. Yeah, that too. Like I feel like it's just like having a whole different dimension to your ability. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you don't have it, you're missing something completely gone, right? So that's super dope with that, IT. And that's why like I was really vibing to this freestyle. Like I was just bumping it right now too, and I was like, yo, this sounds crazy. Like even in terms of the beat, the flows, the delivery, like everything about it just had this really like kind of upbeat, kind of like feel good type of rap.
Right.
Not too much like it just sounded very
it's been heavy
chemistry
lately.
was there, you know?
Right. It's been kind of a heavy time, and I don't know, for some reason I didn't want to make just the heavy. I could do that. I've been doing that lately, but for some reason I was like, you know what? It's a new year, new time, do something. You know, I wanted kind of a feel good vibe a little bit there.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like you killed it. Like I feel like
thank you.
There's a bunch of stuff to get into. I feel like the flow was super dope. It kind of puts you in that mood where you could just have this on repeat. Because even the beat is like a loop, so you could just loop it and it would be so ill, right? And so here's the thing.
I think that's how I was thinking of it. Was like with the bars was kind of almost that as a, I don't know, like I know I varied some patterns some, but I was thinking almost in like that's why I kind of was wrote it in 4-bar sections, like in a loop. It's like I was thinking of it kind of in little sections. So
right. And so here's the thing, right? Usually the way we start these mental arts dojos is we kind of have the guests go through the verse, kind of kick it to us if possible, or even however, you want to go about it. And so we can kind of take the lyrics and kind of break them down, right? Because I know there's definitely a few layers in there, a few bars that were like, whew, for me. And also, the floor is yours, IT. And just,
word.
Saying, do your thing.
Yeah, man. So it'll be a little different without the beat, of course, probably more slowed down. I think it was a 95 beat. It was like I wanted to, up tempo a little bit. So so acapella to be different, but that's all good. So I said, let love be your guide. You get left heartbroken. Drive me to drinking. Why you think I started smoking? Shit. A part opened up and you get the starving roll. Just know now it's time to go as hard as you can go. Carve no corners. The art got no borders. Even up at halftime, it's 4 quarters. Yo, they said to go for yours. I bet I got mine. 8 sides to the story like a stop sign. A million stories up every time we drop lines. Scraping plates of the greatest of all times. Sitting on the shoulders of giants. I'm 12'8". How to help the world if you don't get yourself straight. Yeah, what's the radius of rhymes and rotation? And what's official with no time for notation? Lie to a patient with divine motivation. What you gonna find if your mind stays waiting? Blind skating, trying to find some traction. Control your response, they provoke our reactions. Force and opposite force in my collections. Sometimes you add it all up and you need subtraction. Hey.
Bars.
Let
Let it breathe. You whack mother. No, I'm just playing. Just this way. Yo, that's crazy. For me, I love the Art Got No Borders line. That was just, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? That was the one for me, right? I was like, damn, like, that's just... And the stop sign bar was like, my guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a few
Doom
really
earlier.
Bars for me. Sorry?
I was listening to a lot of Doom. You know, I was listening to tons of Doom lately. And he has a great line in one. He said something about if these walls could talk, and then he says something about that's kind of a classic. He flips that a little bit, and then he says like he flips he flips the four walls into there's four sides to every story. And that's, I don't remember how the bar goes, but I was like, oh, four sides. And so that's where the eight sides to every story. I was like, that's just, it made sense to me. But like, I love that line from Doom, or whenever I heard it, I was like, oh, I had kind of forgot about it. And
yeah,
you know, it just makes sense. Like stories are like,
I think that was off the Victor Vaughn piece. I think
that was so good. I listened to that.
That album was crazy.
The rapping is expert level.
Crazy, yo. One of the craziest bars, literally. That was insane. So to kind of veer it back into the verses, when you're writing with something like this, to kind of peel it back to a piece, I know you told me you came up with the beat first, was it? You kind of made the
I did beat fully, no idea, no lyrical idea, just let's make a beat and find the feel of a beat. I literally just went through some packs and didn't overthink it. I found a full like drum pack that felt good. That was already in the machine, and just kind of messed with it, and then just made something felt good, and then was like, let's loop that up. So start with the beat first, completely.
Dope. And then with your approach, when you're writing a piece like this, did you approach it the way that when you approach your songs? Is the same pen, or did you kind of come through with a different type of, like, let me highlight these pieces in my like technique versus, you know?
I think it was pretty close to my kind of voice, my normal pen to some degree. Although that can change. I mean, I don't quite necessarily try on Victor Vaughn type a full character usually, but I mean, but at the same time, sometimes I do emphasize parts of a character. I might teach more, or like, whatever it might be. But a lot of mine is being very honest and being very like just direct, and like if I'm with the audience, trying to connect with them on a personal level or whatever. And so I think that's where I try to do with the poetry too, or whatever, with the writing, the bars, is just like be clever, be smart too, but I let that come naturally if I can, and just try to, I don't know, figure out that first bar, and then kind of go with it from there. And I did a lot of like I guess like Raekwon the Chef type writing for this one, like, and you and I know some SOSA writing. I wrote a bunch. I just wrote a bunch of 8 bars. I kept writing like half verses, and I was like, that's okay. And then I just like drafted the best like 16, and then I kind of added 4 more that I liked. And but it was, I don't know, it was very like, let the beat ride. And then the beat doesn't have any, compared to a song, like, I guess I'll take beats like this and then make them into songs with like, chorus parts, builds, and all that. But this was just bars. It was just 4 bars. So it kind of it made sense for bars. So I think I will write like this sometimes. Like if I want to say somehow Sway calls you up, you got to go on the show on Friday, then I think I might do this. I might just write up a bunch of bars, like make a 4-bar loop that I love, and just write like 150 bars and just be ready.
Bar it out,
it's fun because like I'm used to writing to whole beats, like whole instrumentals. Like when I do a song, I do an album, I have like, I usually get like my best folder of beats from my favorite producers that I know, type thing, and I pick my favorite beats and try to Illmatic it up and as best I can usually. And but those are whole beats. It's like their whole idea, and it speaks to me. It tells me where to go. It's different to make your own beat. You're like, okay, what am I feeling? And then pick a sample that matches that, or no sample, or whatever. Because sample's been a funny discussion lately. But note on that beat was all samples, 100%. Every single sound is a sample.
100% sampled.
All samples.
And so, because here's the thing, right? The reason I like to ask that pen question is because a lot of different people approach it differently, right? Like especially with a series like this, like a lot of people have been coming through with punchline type raps,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so this one kind of felt like a deeper kind of cut in terms of it just felt like you were being yourself. You're kind of being honest with yourself, and you're not really trying to get across like a rap type of vibe. It was more like let me just tell you a story. Let me just tell you how I'm feeling, right? And so if you can kind of run us through the bars, kind of take us through, you know, from A to B, like how the whole piece kind of came together. I see.
Got you. So, I mean, the start of a piece is always tricky. Like, you know, you kind of have to you want to have a good catchy line, or you want to have a line that draws people in, or when you look at it different ways, but
the opener, you gotta have the opener.
Yeah, you want to open up with something. So, I think love's a pretty universal concept. So I think I was like, I think sometimes I always have to write from where I'm sitting at, where my brain's at the moment. And like, you know, sometimes, you know, it's just part of it was where I was feeling mood wise too. And I think I was feeling like, you know, basically if I say, let love be your guide, you get heartbroken basically. And it's essentially that if, you know, there's other points of reference, like, you know, you got to there's a business mind out here. There's a mind that doesn't just get intoxicated by being the love. Like you can get love from a person, but if you're a rapper, you come off that show high, or like you just killed the stage, you might mess around. You about to meet a cool person. You should have a good business relationship, but you're like, you let the love of the crowd affect you, or like, you know, make you change. So I'm kind of saying, you know, you got hyped. You got to keep a level head a little more. So I'm kind of trying to like say something simple, but also be like, wait, he's saying more there. So I'm saying like, if you let it go that way, you just gonna have heartbroken. That's a guarantee. It's very simple. Like you put your heart out there, it's getting stomped on. And then the second line that plays off that, which is like the heart, kind of like where that'll lead you, is the drive me to drinking thing. And that was actually a reference to an old coach of mine. And he would always say, like, he was a football coach, a receiver coach in college. And when you would, like, say you mess up, and he'd been telling you to, like, do the same thing, like, keep your eyes there, whatever. He'd be like, you gonna drive me to drinking, Shreve? What are you doing? Like, and I like it. I think it's a very Southern, like, country phrase. Like, it's a very football coach phrase. And I've always liked it. I don't really use it in my family, but because I'm not a big drinker, but I find it to be a hilarious phrase of just like, for frustration, you gonna drive me to drinking, boy? And then, like, you know, I don't know. I've always indulged in weed as like a stress reliever. That's how I looked at it for a lot of my life, is like it helps let stress off. So it's kind of like also owning up a personal thing of like, hey, this is, you know, 2020. Let's be front street. Like, I don't have a drinking problem, but like that's a phrase. And then my version is I sometimes have to roll up to clear my head before I have to write something sometimes.
The hip hop version.
Yeah, it happens. So that's exact. So it's kind of like, yeah, why you think I did that? That's my version of like a person coping, negative coping skills.
Right.
And then I'm kind of saying, like, I don't know. I don't always keep a full train of thought. I think Lil Wayne's like the traditional, like, or Lil Wayne's kind of some of his classic mixtape era, kind of just pulling stuff out of the air, colliding things. I think it's okay if you don't always have a full track of thought. So I don't know that the bar 3 fully pairs off that concept. I think I'm kind of just like just kind of pulling ideas in. So I'm saying, like, when you get your shot, basically, if a part opens up, you get your slot. It could be a job, it could be your opportunity, but if you get put into the spot, you're gonna get some hours. You're gonna get, if you're the starter, if you're the star, if you get put into, like, oh, it's like you were the understudy and now you're the star now. Like, you got it's cool until you realize you got to go out there every night. This is like theater, you'd be out there 5 nights or 7 nights a week on Broadway. And so, like, it'd be cool, like, I'm the star, and then you'd be like, oh snap, there's more to it than that. So
you
it's like,
put in the work.
Yes, the next one's like that. Like, okay, now you got the spot. Now you got to go as hard as possible because you don't want to lose your spot.
And I feel like, even, you know, I don't know if you peeped it, maybe it's just the subconscious, like, pen game. Even a part opening up could mean, you know, you're opening up your heart. You kind of playing off that type of, like, body part, right? So
I thought about that, and I think I was planning when I was writing it too with like because I had started and I had starring, so I was playing with like sparking, or like I was thinking, like, if you in the part idea, I remember some ideas along those lines of like thinking about. So sometimes, like, ideas or concepts you don't even fully like close the loop on, but if you leave them in there, like, sometimes I swear people, like, I know we do this as listeners, you'll find something, like, you'll see it on interviews. An interviewer will think somebody meant this, and then they'll tell the guy, and he's like, oh really? Yeah, word, okay, cool, I meant that too. Like, it's, you know, it's an extra level. So I've said this for a long time. Bars, like, if I mean 3 levels and you get like 3 different ones, like, even if I didn't intend them, like, that's how language just works. Like, there, you know, sometimes there's like the hidden gray area where, like, I think the writer still gets credit for those, even if he didn't quite all the way intend. The
It's
listener
a
got
fact.
it. So it's like,
Because they say, I know Lou RT, they calls it a beautiful accident. It's like when it
yeah,
happens,
exactly.
you get that side of it. And I mean, some people play it off like yeah, I meant it. Some people be like, oh
Right.
damn, like nah, like you know.
I
But I
think
mean, the
that
thing
one's
is, like,
on
there
that.
it's there, right?
Right. That to me, that one would be like if, we say, when is a piece ever done? Like, so if I had another week, maybe I would tie that up tighter and it'd be like, my part, open up my arteries, get the speed of Carteret. It'd be, maybe
Yeah,
it'd be
yeah, yeah.
nicer, maybe. But for, for sometimes constraint. And also like, sometimes you just want to get your point of like, it can become what we call it. Oh, my brain just blanked on one of our key ornamentation. It's like sometimes that extra internals is like really cool and technical and awesome, but sometimes it's like, ugh, you're doing too much.
Gets rid of the meaning, kind of. Simplicity
Yeah.
is a little nicer,
Well,
yeah. And I feel like
and
the ambiguity is dope here, yeah.
yeah, and I almost arrive at that conclusion at the end with the subtraction thing. I almost kind of like less is more. That's why I think as I was doing it, I had some of these bars over here because I told you I wrote a bunch. So like there were some ones that were more like they were good, they were okay, they're bars, but they I don't know. I had taken a little break after my album. I've been doing my eights and writing and on my writing game, but sometimes like when you try to flex, the punchline almost doesn't even sound like it sounds too flexed. So
Yeah.
I'm very kind of not cautious, but I'm like try to be smart about letting the punchlines just happen, or kind of allow them to happen. The beautiful accident thing, allow them to fall
Like,
into place. Don't force it. So there might have been something there I might have forced if I added those extra layers. So I think it's almost can be that sometimes.
but for me personally, when I get a piece like this, I like the simplicity of it to myself because I feel like it kind of lets the listener piece it together, and you don't got to go full like rapidy rap mode. It's kind of just like,
right,
yo, you get it or you don't, like on some like Jay-Z level, like how he does it,
right,
kind of, right? So I feel like even for that, it's just dope. Like it gets the message across. Like part opens up, okay, you might be talking about your heart, and you get the starring role. Okay, damn, like
it leaves you,
are you supposed to be that type of person that's like, leading with love? Like, you know what I'm saying? It kind of creates that type of like,
right,
okay, dope, what are we getting into next, And
to
me, it's ill like that. I love the simple
hey,
bars that are kind of like, you got to work on it a little bit,
right,
That's super
absolutely.
ill.
I mean, more can be more too, obviously, because I go to rap shows and I have many friends who definitely once in their set are going to super rap you, like straight up do breath control, like people won't even know, but people literally won't know what they're saying and probably miss all the bars, but they'll be amazed by like just rapid fire, just
Bars, yeah.
just bars, and the next thing you know, that makes their like the lighter ones actually hit harder sometimes because now they pull back. So I like both of those because it can be a contrast, but I don't tend to want to super rap as much. I want to kind of like just, I don't know, you gotta be the one rapping on stage, so I want to enjoy doing it. I don't want to but it's exhausting to spit some of Eminem's rhymes.
Thinking for the future, like, damn, I'm going to be so
Right.
tired if I do this.
Yeah, man, it's a long-term game.
You killed me that T, man. You killed me that T. You're a funny guy.
All right, so
That's
let's
genius,
see.
though. That's smart.
All right, so yeah, exactly. You gotta scheme it out. So I was saying, like, I'm talking about, you get your shot, you gotta go as hard as you can. Then I say, so carve no corners. So it's like you get your shot. You can't show up late to work. You can't cut. You gotta do the job right because you gotta earn your spot now that you got it. And then I'm like, this is just, sometimes the rhymes just fall into place. Like carve no corners rhymes really well with the art got no borders. But
that's a bar.
But the bar felt good. Sometimes that one fell into place, but it ends up almost overtaking it because I'm like, oh, that just worked. It really was
crazy ass bar.
Sometimes it just sets it up. Yeah. So it's like, and as soon as you think of that one, you're like, okay, art can travel across any border of humans. Like I thought instantly of like art is outside of the frame. You can't box me in. I thought of, basically there's no rules to what we do. The barriers and like the kind of the way that we're supposed to do it isn't really a thing. You can kind of take this and do it however you want. So sometimes the bar just happens and like it fell into place.
And even like graffiti, like graffiti street art. You know what I'm saying? It's hip hop, right? So it's like it's not no painting, not no museum. It's kind of just got that like gritty type of feeling,
right?
And that's kind of like yo.
What's not say, outside the margins, like to me, all the, like that's a classic thing is to think outside the box. Like what Doom say with he wants to sometimes leave the spot blank. So you'll think of it because it's all about like, he wants to think the thing you didn't think of kind of. So that's part of the whole idea here is think outside the box. Oh, and then the next one, I like the next one too. The next one is kind of my simple stuff. Like, so I said, carve no corners, the art got no borders, even up at halftime is still 4 quarters. Like, that was dumb to me. Like, because you'll get up at halftime in any sports game, you're up by like 20, 30 points, you're ready. We're killing them out there. There's a whole other half to play. You're going to mess around and like, you got to go all the way to the fourth quarter. And then I like math bars. I like playing with numbers a little bit. So like I come back to it with the 8 sides later, but it's just kind of like a double up both times. But now I just think people kind of like count their eggs, the chickens before they hatch. Like, man, we're killing these guys. Or like I've seen folks in like a receiver or as like in basketball, like they got like a double going. It's the third quarter, and they're like, man, I already got mine. I'm about to take a seat. And you're like, now we got to close these guys out. Don't think because you got your stat line that the game's over, right? So it's kind of like it's kind of like one of those.
You gotta be Kobe in the fourth, you know.
Yeah, you got to play all, until the throat's cut. You gotta play all the way. And then so I get in that game time mode. I'm kind of like, it's game time. So then I'm like, they said to go for yours. I bet I already got mine. And then in sports, like betting. So like I'm kind of like saying, I'll put the money on me. I bet I got mine. And then I put out a song just now called "Go for Mine," which is about some of these concepts. So I was always kind of like in that little mix.
You got to cut a promo check right here, IT. This ain't a promo zone. I'm playing.
You got to get the royalties right.
Fact.
And then I think somehow because I released that song, maybe I've been in the doom. Like I told you, in the doom zone, and he had said something about. I wish I knew the whole 2 bars, but like he led into it with something about the 4 walls. That was the lead in, was like he visualized the room and there was like 4 walls, and then he said, but that was the set. Some of that was the setup, and then he said there was 4 sides to every story, and I was like, I wish I could know exactly which one. I think you're right.
You said after they probably still ignore me. I was like, damn.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's it, exactly. Oh, he said if these walls could talk, they probably ignore me. What?
Yeah.
What?
4 sides to the story. They probably still ignore me. Something like that. It was crazy. It was damn. I remember when I heard that, I'm like, yo, that's crazy.
Oh, his is slow down too. I like it slow. He says there's 4 sides to every story. If these walls could talk, they probably
still ignore me.
Oh, that's such a slow, calm, like the thought. Like if you were in the live crowd, like the first time you heard that, you'd never heard that before, you would just sit there and be like, it would hit you in a way, and like you would take it at face value, and then it would just crush you. You'd be like. Like it would melt you. Like you would assume that you had to catch it all, but then it would like soak into you, and it would be a beautiful experience. So like I just love bars like that. That kind of,
it's such a doom bar. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's just doom written all over it. Like yo, damn, like it's crazy.
Right, and then I was just saying go for yours, right? I just said go for yours. So stop sign made extra sense to me. It made a lot of sense because I was like always saying go for yours. So I was like, so I think sometimes in rap you can like. I don't overthink my concepts. Like just because I said go, I think it's almost free
flow traffic.
Yeah, free traffic to say stop. Like if I mean like or anything related to go. Like that's kind of how I feel like it's like once you open up this little like of go items, you're like traffic, yellow, yield, stop. All those are available to you. So especially if I just yeah, exactly. So it's just like either easy. If you're freestyling, that would be very helpful, right? If you're like off the top of it, that's just portals to go through. So that's how my brain works. Is like I kind of come from that space. So yeah, so it's like finishing up the math from the top of the 2 and the 4 of halftime and 4 quarters, and I come back to 8 sides, and that's also the go previously to the stop sign. And I get his stories next. So it's kind of the beginning of this little bit of a story kind of like theme here coming up. So 8 sides to the story like a stop sign. And I originally wrote 8 million stories because that's a tribe reference, right? So I decided like there was enough 8s. I decided that was already there because I just decided to leave it. So I said 1 million stories. I kind of wanted you to put that together. I was like 8. That's almost hammering the head too much. So I just said 8 sides. So I was like, let's just say I already said stories as well. So I said 1 million stories. And I was really trying to say right there that like when we rap, maybe it isn't even as good as it should be because it's the quantification of like Rakim and Nas and all, but all of us are sitting up 80 stories up, 1 million stories up on top of the Illmatics, the Ready to Dies, the Jurassic 5, whatever you listen to or whatever has affected you, you sit up on top of it. And even if you don't realize it, sometimes you don't realize your influences. Sometimes you think it was like a more modern influence. You don't realize he got that from three people before him. You don't know that's Cool G rap. You don't even realize that. And so I'm kind of saying there's a million stories up every time, any punchline you drop, even if you don't even like the history of this. It's kind of like a lot of people aren't historians. They don't care about the history, but they like bars. Oh, the elephant rhymes with reverend. Oh, heaven sent. You know, they just want to rhyme.
Damn.
They don't realize it's already been done. It's already everything. It's already been done. Like everybody's rhymed those things in cool ways. Like, I heard KRS One today rap like elementary and penitentiary in exactly the same way that Tupac did. And I always credit that to Tupac, but it was like KRS was like 10 years, but it was like a good 7 years before, or it was like, I don't know. It's sometimes you kind of falsely attribute things. So I guess I'm kind of saying, you know, I'm trying to attribute it. Like there's a million stories that came before us. So when we drop lines, that's what we're sitting up on top of. And then I kind of reiterated a couple of times in a row. So I'm saying like, we're eating off their plate. Scraping plates are the greatest of all times. Like, if you like punchlines, you probably are biting off some Rakim style, or you're probably, you know, without even thinking it, you don't even know that you're doing Slick Rick storytelling because you already heard three people.
It's like every influence is coming down. It's like trickling down, right? Like you might see, kids, you know, this current person as like an influence, and then this guy was influenced by 5 other people, and it's just like a whole like poof, like a tree, or like whatever, right?
Yeah, and that's why it's so good to do your history, because somebody will say like, you know, I only listen to Big Crit, or I only listen to Mac Miller, or I only listen. They'll attribute it to the person, and that's who they listen to. But they'll forget that they listen that Mac Miller listened to this. That, you know, they forget kind of the layers to it, and so I think that's really important. That's why it's cool to. That's why I want to have. As I've gotten older, I want to put that in there more, so you can realize, like, if you like what I say, like Black Thought stuff is so many levels above what I do. Like, understand there are levels to this. So I'm kind of saying that, like, I scrape his plate. Like, Black Thought's out here killing lyrical rap every day, and I'm just like, let me get some crumbs. Let me scrape up some of your plate. So I'm kind of saying the same thing.
But that's also like, even in terms of how you were saying how every, you know, concept has been done. Like there's so many rhymes that have been done. So the scraping plate could be like you're trying to get the last little bit. You're trying to venture off into the other side, you know, to get what's left, basically, right?
Right. Yeah. I guess in here, I'm saying, like, yeah, all these that there's a beautiful aspect that we're up high, and there's a pressure to being in 2020 and to having all this history behind you. Like, you should be nice. Like, there's no excuse to not be nice. So, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you should scrape the plate. Like, I guess I'm kind of almost saying it in like a double way. Like, I'm almost calling myself out. Like, damn, we're scraping the plate of these guys out here. But I'm also, we should be like, I think they left some crumbs out here. I don't think Lou got it all. I think Lou left some for it. I think there's some little crumbs out here we gotta go get, kind of. I really do. At some point, you know, Raekwon the Chef is like, he's only gonna go to so many places. So if people like that and you have that vibe, then you gotta, you know, like, there's crumbs to be had, kind of. So I guess I'm saying a couple of those things there. And then the third one,
it's super ill. And I know even for me, being raised is always like, yo, gotta get every piece of rice off the plate, you know?
Yeah.
Damn, you're leaving.
Well, I had said like, I tried to. I guess I'm the whole time. If you think before this, I didn't even think this when I was breaking it down in my head. Like, but I said, you know, they said to go for yours. I bet I got mine, and I guess I'm kind of showing, like, I will scrape the plate. I will like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I will respect the history before me. And the third one, I say, I'm sitting on the shoulders of giants. I'm 12'8". Like, we should be dunking on fools out here. Like, even if I'm sitting on their shoulders, they're way up tall. Like, I think I had standing on it at one point, and I was like, you know what? Nah, they're the ones standing. They did the leg work. I'm sitting on their shoulders. I'm not even. They invented how hip hop works. I just get to, like, go find my DJ. You know, it's way easier. So that was, I guess, I wanted to triple down on the idea of, like, I'm going for mine, but in the way that is respectful to the way you're supposed to. Like, you know, it's like, there's a city out there, go become the man out there. Like, you can do that, but you have to know, you have to go about it the right way, or somebody out there gets you, because they're out there trying to get it too.
It's fact.
And I guess yeah, that's the transition. That last bar, I say, you know, like, because a lot of this is egotistical, right? Like, we're you know, like, I'm trying to go for mine and scrape the plate and all this, and, you know, and I'm 12'8". But I'm trying to, like, get myself, like, I don't feel like you can take on the world until you're Superman, almost. Like, the world, like, how are you going to help the world if you, or not even Superman, how are you going to, like, if you want to take on the world, you better be Superman. It's going to be hard enough to take on your block or your house or your task at your job. So I'm kind of saying, like, you know, put the oxygen mask on you before trying to rescue the whole plane, because you got to get yourself straight. That's kind of one of the key things there.
And it's like, it's kind of like, same time, it's like you're being kind of braggadocious, but at the same time you're paying homage. So it's not like on some, like, I got here by myself. It's kind of like I'm nice
Right.
to these guys, but like this is what, but I'm still nice. You know what I'm saying? So
I found that with
it's
some of
dope.
my
I like
favorite
the
rappers.
balance of the perspectives. Yeah.
Like Black Thought talks trash about his band half the time, and like, you know, like I realized once I had a DJ, it's so much fun to talk trash about my, that's the original MC perspective, is to like, this, my DJ's this nice, and like just go off on that, and that it's like an excuse to just be braggadocious, to be outlandishly sharp, and then have a reason to be doing that, as opposed to just, because like you're doing the same thing as when you just like kind of talk trash at someone or about how good you are, but it feels so much better because you're not like just beating your chest. You're kind of like, he's nice. You see how nice he is? I feel like I might do that on the beats as I make the beats more. I'm like, you hear this beat? Like, you know, yeah. But for some reason when you
get at him.
Yeah, for some reason when you say that about yourself, I feel like if you do it in the right, if you say like, this hip hop thing we got is nice, if you talk trash about how ill hip hop is, then like people would go with you. But if like you're just up on the stage talking about how ill you are, unless they know you, they're almost like, who is this guy? But if you're talking about like, if you're in the Bronx and you're talking about how ill the Bronx is and how we all connect on that, then you can flex while you do that in a way that is they'll be like, yeah, he's flexing for me, as opposed to
you're bigging up everybody. It's not like a selfish thing. It's like a community type of situation.
You
right?
step in the cipher and demolish it, but you don't like the next guy wants to go. You know, like he you know, I mean, maybe you kill so hard nobody wants to go, but I mean, like you're not really knocking them down. Like you're trying to set the cipher on fire, so it's even iller. You know, I think that's the energy I like, is that you know, you can flex through that. I think sometimes people want to flex and want to be like, I'm the illest, and they don't quite know how to do that. And I think an easy way to do that is like flex about your friends, or like, you know, how ill. Like, I don't know, you can find ways to flex, like, but you can't, if you just do about you, people are like, I don't believe you.
It's like building people up rather than, you know, tearing them down or whatever, right? Super cliche,
right.
but
it's real. Yeah, facts.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact.
So let's see, I went from okay, so now I go back to, and again, I don't know how all this is, like if it's super trans thought, or I think, you know, I kind of did a little Frankenstein work and just found some things I like best. But I say, you know, what's the radius of rhymes in rotation? And so there I'm just saying, like, imagine the reach of like a pop song these days. Like if a song hits rotation, like it gets in rotation, imagine how far it reaches, like, and how big the circle is. And like, so if with that power of that culture behind what I was just talking about, like how, like if you can keep that in mind, how many people could you reach if you ever got something in rotation, if you make a song with the right mindset? Or I don't know, for some reason I end up getting a little preachy. I feel like telling people, rappers, what to do or something, but I'm kind of saying like, yo, I guess I'm trying to get across, like, yo, if it was time to rhyme and you make the ill hit, like, and get it in rotation, like, you're gonna affect the world. Like, your song will really. So I don't know. It's good to have the aim of getting in rotation, but think of how many people you're gonna touch. You don't want that song to just be your one hit and it's like saying nothing. You know, you want to be remembered for something. So I guess that's what I'm hitting on there.
You're hitting us with the math bars. Just saying.
Right.
Just saying.
Exactly. And then there's of course the rotation, the radius, and, you know, we're trying to hit the little, you know, there's
the circle,
biostats
full
level.
circle cipher bars.
Exactly. What's the official? So then I was coming back with official. I was thinking like how off everything is now.
Damn, yo. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but yo, that's bars.
No, I claimed that one right there.
Circle, come on,
right?
IT, come on, bro. I know you set that up. I know you were waiting for that one. You were waiting.
Hey, you know, it's a live performance here. No, so I was thinking like imagine if you, I guess you can get something notarized now too, but like, you know, that's the most official thing, get something officially notarized, but also like how crazy life is right now. Like it's hard to get an appointment. It's hard to have your normal thing. So like, and like I go back to this patient, to the sickness stuff, but like, man, what's an official, like, I don't know, what does official even mean? Like if you're an official rapper, like, you know, you've made it, like, oh, he's official. Like, what does that mean? Did you get signed? Did you sign a bad record label deal? Is that what happens? Did somebody say you were cool? Like, what means you're official? So I guess I'm kind of saying that, like, when there's no time, like we have no time for anything anymore, especially, you know, we've had that. So it's like when nobody has any time to like stamp you or say he's official, or we're at a time when that doesn't even matter, then what's official mean? Like if you don't, you know, do you have to have a Twitter verification? What's that mean to be official?
Blue checks.
Right? You got a blue check. It's, you know, something blue.
It's like it's kind of like a self-reflection bar. I feel like you're, to me, when I hear a bar like that, it's like it ties into the whole like you're about to go in idea. You know what I'm saying? Like your whole like there's no limit to you. You're just trying to perfect your craft. Like when, to me, that bar is like saying like, yo, like being official for me is being the best that I think I could be. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you meant it that way, but like when I hear that, it's like you're saying like, yo, there's no limit. There's no, you know, you're not stopping for nothing. You better keep going type thing, right?
One aspect that I want to think was like, I thought notary, that's an official thing, but I also thought notation is like writing stuff down. Sometimes I don't want to write. Sometimes I don't. Like, it was fun to this one actually write my notes. Like I hadn't done that in a while. Like, you know, to write my straight up. I didn't do all my like, I didn't break it down into like my, you know, rhyme schemes and everything. I didn't do it all.
Trees.
No, I did not do a syntactic tree. Thank goodness. No, I did not. But I gave notes on all the bars, and I was like, I hadn't done that in a while. And now that kind of almost felt like notation, or like, you know, writing your notes down, or like, you know, so I was almost saying like, I don't know when, you know, like what's the official version when you half the time, like you put out like just something without even the notes, or I'll do a, you know, a single release and won't even write the album credits. So half the time in the online world, stuff is so rushed and microwave. Like what is, if you don't even write all the details down, like back in the day, you know, look at the back of those records, all the details, all the credits, all the liner notes. Like we just released like a whole mixtape with just, you know, produced by. It's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting.
It's facts.
But it's, I don't know.
Thought about that. I never thought about that before. That's crazy. Because I know even I recently. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say I recently I bought Black on Both Sides. I found a copy at like when I was out in a different city. I found a copy in like one of those stores that kind of have CDs, and I opened it up, and from inside there was like a whole like thing just written by like Yassine, like a whole like notation piece. And I'm like, damn, like if I didn't have the physical, I would never know this existed. You know what I'm saying? Right. I feel like you're right in that terms. Like, yeah, like once everything gets digital, a lot of details kind of cease to exist. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's an ill line in terms of that, you know, aspect.
Well, this is just me kind of thinking about like a more pop culture like thing on like Twitter right now. But like I've seen folks like talking about graphic design and how they simplify logos, like going like, you know, how it'll like Smuckers. Go look up.
Oh
Smuckers. Yeah, like they'll kind of just simplify things. So it's almost like we cook it down sometimes, which we were just talking a minute ago about the simplicity, how that can be good. But it's like also we're just kind of talking about there, like it's good to have put the full ornamentation on your album cover, or fully like, you know, really connect all those dots, because I don't know, it's a beautiful thing. I think I have that same physical copy. It's almost like that's like the mid 90s kind of like era of CDs being super cool. Like they still have it's before the internet, everything kind of becoming just so kind of condensed. Now, if we kept going that, how short is the single eventually? Is it a 1 minute single? Is it 30? Like how, if we keep shaving it, you know, like, so I think I'm getting at some of that of just old man yelling at the wind. Like, man, what's it even mean anymore? What's it even mean to be on or official? You know, I guess that's kind of where I was thinking, like when we're rushed, there's no time, and nobody's going to really even take the time to sign your little, you know, official cosign anyway. What does that even mean? So, then I get this next line is kind of like, I guess that same line of like, there's no time for it anyway. And I guess I was thinking official. Some part of my brain thought of COVID, like official cause of death. And so I thought of patients, like all the people dying. And I was like, and so I said, they lie. So I said, this line is pretty ill, I thought. So I said, lie to a patient with divine motivation. And so I'm saying, like, imagine if you were in a COVID ward and the way they treat COVID, because again, health is my background. So I know this is public health is me. I get fired up about it. But like, so in like hospitals in California and various places, they're basically in like triage time. So triage would normally be like if we had a train wreck and we show up and we have to basically say he's about to die and he's less going to die. And he's like, we would grade them all by how close to death they were and how savable. And then we would save the people we could. And some people would just be left to die for sure, because they are going to die anyway. And it's sad and stuff. So I'm saying lie to so that guy, you know what you're going to do? You're going to lie to him and you're going to tell him, oh, I guess it's God's will. What's divine motivation? God's, like I'm saying, like, don't say, oh, I guess it was in the plan. I guess there's a reason for, like, you're going to be a human struggling with, you you know, like, and this happened to
Yeah,
400,000 people this year. So I guess that's what I'm getting at is like, dude, imagine those moments of being lied to as a patient when like, they're just going to tell you and they're going to use like God as a reason. Like, oh, I guess God loves you. Like you're going to me. Like imagine that moment. And if you don't think that, like, imagine how that might feel. So I guess I was tapping into some of that. And then I kind of cap it with, you know, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, I feel like you could even take it the other way. It's like when you say, you know, somebody is kind of going through it, they might not make it, and you're telling them, like, yo, don't worry, like, you're gonna get good, you're gonna be all right. But you know, you're kind of giving them hope, just so you don't, because you can't crush them. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like some people get better when they do get that, right? They get, oh yeah, I'm gonna be good, you know?
No, that's a
Your body's
that's a great angle.
Kind of ill.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, I meant that one too. No, no, it's nah, but like,
you gotta e-transfer me for this, yo. Cash out.
Absolutely.
I got you, IT. Don't even stress.
Nah, but you nailed that. I mean, that's completely like you tell people all the time. Like, I hope, you know, like hope feels like a lot, like, you know, the whole idea of hope or like of faith, like that can feel like you're lying to yourself. Like, for what reason do I have to believe we're gonna get through this or that or this? And like, so no, absolutely. I think I felt like, I guess I was thinking the negative side of the same thing, of like kind of the same viewpoint of like.
Yeah, sorry, IT. I was gonna say even lied. My fault. The got 10%. So lied to a patient, like it sounds like one of those what's the word for it when they call it like a good lie, like
right.
You say something like
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so it's like you're lying to, but I feel like there's more depth to this bar because it feels more like on some like you got to do what you got to do, but you do have a good intent. You know what I'm saying? It's like. Well, I know it sounds similar.
If you truly had, like, if the person truly was motivated by the divine right there, then like even that lie, which would be crazy, like it'd be a little paradox. Like if they, you know, to sit there and be like, you're going to be all right. You just got to keep the faith. And you just know they're about to die. Like, but somehow that actually kept them alive. Right. Your lie was helpful. Like they had no reason maybe to be hopeful, but that hope got them through. Sometimes that happens. So it's, I don't know. I don't know. I think like
crazy paradox.
And I think sometimes, like, if you mention lie, a lie is an illusion. So as soon as you mention lie, like, there's certain concepts I think that are powerful inherently in, like, what we write about. If you mention, like, you know, something having a mirror or a reflection, like, there's certain just concepts that, like, you can flip almost just in a powerful way, just by the way they are, I think. You know, you don't know what people are motivated by. Or is it greed? Is it love? Is it, like, it could be very contrary things. So I think if you set up little mirror, like little flips like that, sometimes I think it leaves so many places for the mind to go that like it gives, you know, allows me to get credit for all kinds of stuff that I'm not even like trying to do. I'll take it all. So I guess basically, yeah, and somewhere in here I'm trying to wrap it up. I probably with these bars, I'm like, you know, I said lie to a patient with divine motivation. What you gonna find if your mind stays waiting? And I think I'm just saying like, basically, you know, if you just stay in your norm, like I think a lot of us have felt in our norm, or maybe a month in felt in your norm, like you, or maybe assessed what your norm was like man, I got to make some changes, or I got to like, how am I going to stay here these months? So, like just stay quarantined.
Days are like blending.
Yeah, they blend together. And like for me, it helped to make beats or to do some things. But like even then, like the beats start to blend together. I'm like, did I just spend what am I doing tonight? It's 3 a.m. I'm like, how long have I been making beats? Like, and that's kind of cool, but it's like, to me, that's the finding part. If you don't, to me, the danger I'm kind of pointing out is that what are you going to, you're not going to find anything if you just wait and just watch your same old show on Netflix. If you don't, like we said, when it feels uncomfortable to make that beat the first time, where it feels uncomfortable to, every time I've never learned a language like that, but almost anytime somebody learns a language, it's like their hesitation is they sound awkward. They don't, it's not comfortable. So you have to like remember the coding, remember Doc IT's coding? Oh, I hate that code. Oh my God. Doc IT.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun.
It was fun.
The Doc IT, that was fun. Incredible.
It was beautiful.
But it was
the
actually
retreat,
fun,
it was beautiful.
But
I struggled because it was a new.
It was hard though. It was so hard.
I felt incompetent. I felt like a beginner. It's like a new video game where somebody's waxing you and you're like, oh yeah, it's the hit button's this, and you're just getting stomped. So I think
it's when you step out of your norm, you know, you step out of, you leave what you're used to, and you just feel useless. It's like, damn, like, you know, then you gotta hit up Doc IT to do every code for you, you know?
Yeah.
It's fact. Yo, Doc, come help me out.
I mean, I think the word in that sentence, find, like if you gonna find something, right, it might be finding your way or finding your like a new thing, like to find something, right? And so I think I'm saying, what are you gonna find if you just sit around, like not trying to go do that? If you stay in your comfort zone, like what new rap are you gonna write? You know, what new? It's like there's a lot of that. Beats are like that. I'll realize I like to hit the same beat, like boom, tick, tick, boom. Because you just know it's your same rhythm you always hit. You're like, oh, I'm not making another one of those, am I? And like your raps can be like that sometimes. So it's kind of like, don't stay waiting in the same place. What are you gonna find doing that? Find something else. Like, and especially if you're not happy or if you need something new or you want to find something new, you're not. What do you expect to find sitting there? So there's some of that.
So you got to break your comfort zone. You got to break down the borders, kind of type thing.
And so the next line really plays off that. I say, I'm just, keeping the rhyme scheme going too, is where I kind of started with, but I'm just like, I'm saying blind skating, which I thought of as like, I literally imagine like if somebody was trying to skateboard blind, like I was like how you'd be trying to grind, right? Like that's what skaters grind. So I was imagining like if you skate, you're on your grind. So I'm like, you're blindly grind, like you're grinding and not knowing where you're going. Like a lot of rappers do that, right? We just like post pictures, little freestyle, like check my new single. Like I do it like on my Twitter, like look at it. It's probably like, oh, look at my new podcast. Hey, check my new single. Hey, interaction. Hey, meme retweet. It's like, I didn't mean to do that, but it's like what there's no
true purpose kind of with it.
There's not a true, but yet like sometimes somebody will tell themselves, I'm grinding, man. I'm out here grinding. And like back in when I first started rapping, that might be like making your mixtape. Like, you're gonna know why you're rapping on these certain songs. Like you just know that song was popping. And the beat is cool. It's a hot beat or whatever. So like, but are you just grinding away? Like basically giving out your free verses and your material, all your bars and your like, that could be publishing. That could be that's your like quiver of dart of your air. Oh, don't give that away. But yet Lil Wayne made us all want to give away 3 albums. So did 50 Cent. We all wanted to just flood the market. So I got like 6 mixtapes online. It's okay. But I was blind skating. And I was trying to find some traction. I was trying to I wanted my feet to just like get me somewhere. I was trying to get there, So
that grinding bar was crazy when you said, like, in terms of when you're breaking it down, because when you grind something down too, it loses more of it to kind of form something. Right. So it's crazy, IT. I love that. For me, I love when you're breaking a bar down and you use a word and it just opens more pathways. It's like, damn, like
it's funny.
That's the train of thought you're supposed to be on,
Well, you know how words are, how powerful they are. Like, so some of every bar, like there'll be filler words, right? Some words are like, oh, that word could have been something else. It's not a key word, but sometimes the word like is a key thing. And it's really fun to look back at it and realize what that word maybe did for the next line or that line, or maybe just set up some dominoes that you came back to a few bars later. Like that. So that's why it's really cool that's why a series like this or doing this is so cool, is because you realize like, kind of the underneath work and thought that's happening that you don't, the subconscious stuff that happens, like that maybe like, oh, okay, that does make sense. I guess I did do that. Like, because you don't, like we said, we don't even know why we do or how we do what we do sometimes. I mean, you and me have learned, but a lot of rappers do not understand what they're even doing. I don't half the time. I've learned about it and I still don't know sometimes. So it's, yeah, so it's, I don't know. It's a cool thing to break it down and see why you're writing what you write, for sure. So, so I was trying to find some traction because I'm just trying to like, get somewhere. And then while you're doing that, like people are gonna give you obstacles, people get in your way. So I'm saying control your response. They provoke your reactions, or our reactions. Like if you're at a protest, think of the protest the whole last year. Think of the difference in protests. Think of the way that like, protesters are regularly provoked on the front lines of Black Lives Matters protests. But if it's a capital insurrection, like folks are creating different provocations. They're saying different things that front line. So unfortunately, we can't say what they say or what some people respond, how people respond. We only can like handle ourselves, but we should know they're going to try to provoke us. We should know that if you say a revolutionary idea, you're going to catch flack for it. And unfortunately, in the modern world, like saying 2 people have equality is an incredibly powerful statement to this day. And so you're going to see folks try to provoke you and say, whatever. And you got to find a way. You have to find a way for your reaction to be whatever. I don't know. I don't necessarily always tell people they should turn the other cheek or they should like, I don't know what the right reaction is. You know that, I feel like just know, that's why I said the first part, control your response. Just like, if you want to punch this guy right now, by all means, like, just control, like, you know, choose that. Like, don't just react and just snap on it. Like, you know, it's different to make your choice. You know, it's
like a
different
different level of strength, I think. Controlling yourself, you know, like mental strength, like knowing
put some
when
intention
to fights and kind of, type thing, right?
Absolutely. You're so well. Sometimes somebody gave me like, this like years ago, I had like an album review, and from this newspaper reporter had interviewed me, and she said something about, like, I think she used Nikki Jean IT's word, like incisive. She said, like, my pen, like when I focused it, could be incisive, and it was basically she was kind of saying, like, kind of calling me out, like I can really get to the heart of the point when I choose to. But she was kind of saying, like, she said, one day maybe he'll choose somebody other than another, like, I think she said dogged rap opponent, because I think I was like into battle bars and just talking trash to rappers. I'm gonna take you, whatever. And so, like, she was basically saying, like, if he'll direct that at something else, then, so that was my thing, was like, start to use intention, start to direct your, if you have rage, if you have anger, like, let's talk about it. Like, you know, kind of, you can make a great song about that. You can, you know, you can make change with that. You can, you know, do something with it. So be ready for people to try to provoke your anger, they're going to provoke you, control your response, control your reaction. And then I'm basically saying my reaction has capabilities, right? Force and opposite force in my collection. Like, if you challenge most folks to force, they have very equal abilities at meeting force with force. Like, most humans are kind of wired that way, especially men. In my experience, there's a lot of like machismo, like, I'm tough, you're tough, we're tough. So I can easily do that. I can give you
gotta
force.
Start ad-libbing like that, Natty.
Yeah. So we can bring them force, like, you know, it's like, if you want that, but at the same time, I can also do the reverse of that. I can do the opposite of force. I can bring like a helpful thing. I have both. We can do both of those things. So I'm kind of saying, you have choice to your reaction. You can be forceful. You can do the opposite of that. So I'm saying I got both of those, and I'm trying to, I guess I was trying to sum this stuff up, somehow come to a conclusion within 59 seconds. So I say, and this bar is mathed out too. So I hit him with, sometimes you add it all up and you need subtraction, except the sometimes is also sum and times. Ooh. So I hit you with all orders of operations.
Damn.
So I said, sometimes you, and then I think add it all up, you need subtraction is cool, because sometimes you add, literally, usually, almost always my bars literally mean something like on some life bars shit. So it's like, when you add up your whole life scenario, when you add it all up, like, or when I do, sometimes I need less. I need to subtract some things. I need to do less. And so that's weird when you added it all up and you took away, but that's how life works in this little paradoxical thing. So sometimes you just kind of fell into place, and I was like, ooh, that's a sum and a time.
That's bars. That's bars.
So that was a beautiful accident. I only meant to do add and subtraction, but I was like, ooh, sometimes what? Sometimes, okay, leave that.
That's crazy, IT. I never even peeped it. Like, I was looking at it like,
I wondered if I should,
because layer, and then he said, you know.
Well, you ever read one? Sometimes people write it there, right? Sometimes people put in parentheses some, and like time, like they'll write it. I don't like to do it. It's funny. I almost debated before I came on here with you. I was almost like, I almost don't like to give people the background. I like when people go into Genius and guess, or not guess, but like piece it together. It's kind of beautiful.
Kind of catch it by themselves. Yeah.
Oh man, read some folks try to break down Lupe Fiasco IT's bars. Like, it's hilarious. The things they'll try to connect, or maybe connect, or create extra connections, and that, I think, is the joy of people's collection and catalog, is trying to. That's like the. I bet previous eras had little like scavenger hunt type things. You're trying to, like, in the comic books, trying to, you know, find that secret story or whatever. Like, it's
like an Easter egg kind of. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I don't know if you played like some games. It's a video game Easter egg.
It's absolutely that. It equals, like, if you were listening on this album, when Lou says this, Lou IT, or whoever, because people do this when they pepper it back in. Doom does tons of this, like
crazy.
If you know kind of like what's going on already within his world, then like that directs you and like allows you to almost have a context. But then you know, everybody has their own context, of course, and life is its own context. But I don't know. So I tried to do that.
I know this is kind of a stretch, but you kind of started off with love, attraction,
I
subtract. You know
tried
what I'm
to,
saying?
well,
Like there's
I
kind of
think,
that the two piece to it.
well, also, I had to kind of do the little Frankenstein thing where I had to figure out what was the opener, what was the finish, how was it like, you know.
Mm.
So I think, you know, I felt like addition and subtraction is obviously like people say, you know, math is like the universal language, like anybody understands, like I'm taking money from you or I'm giving you money, like subtract. People understand that math, like algebra exists for a very specific reason. You know, they understand costs. So like plus and minus is really easy, and then it started with love. So like I think like love hate is a classic plus minus. So I think I was trying to say start off with a plus, because I tend to try to be positive when I can, but anytime I try, I think anytime you get into a discussion or you get into a set of bars or you get into a well-rounded like holistic viewpoint, you end up plus and minus. You end up realizing like, okay, there's a reason why you should love everyone, but there's a reason why they hate them. We like there's these things that are a reality of life. So you don't want to just be kumbaya, like love everybody. So I'll sometimes try to start with love, but then off the rip, I'm like, yeah, you want to be all love, like you get heartbroken. Like I almost wanted to write a rhyme about like, oh, let's let love be our guide. Like off the rip, I joked myself. I was like, yeah, let's let love be your guide. You gonna get heartbroken. Like off the rip, I'm playing myself. Like I think I'm
It's like the
almost
extreme
talking to
opposites, kind of. Yeah.
yeah, so I think that's why I came back to that was like sometimes is kind of coming back to is like to the polarization, the like what we talk about oscillation, like going all over the place with it, right? So like understanding you have these dark parts and these positive parts, and somehow you know connecting them.
Even kind of like magnets, you know.
Absolutely. Well, that's
I just
I
had to
said
say that.
somewhere
I
in
just
there.
had to say.
Yeah, force and opposite force. Like it's why magnet. Somebody was talking about magnets recently. Magnets are crazy. Like science and like just polarization and like and humans have that too. Like yeah, sometimes humans will be like friends and it can be romantic. Of course, humans know about like you know love at first sight stuff, but like humans have attraction to each other. Some people just have energies that like their laughter works better with each other, or they crack up each other's jokes. It might be shared culture. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just like they click or they get along better. So I think this charge and like energy exchange is a really interesting thing. And that happens with the audience every time. When you're on stage, you are straight up doing that magnet thing the whole time. And the more you can direct it and pull from it and play with it, like the more energy starts to build, and then next thing you know, it's like a fire got set off in there. So I think that exchange is a key thing.
Yo, you dropping too many professor bars right now.
Hey, I ain't had class in a minute.
You sitting in science class? That's crazy. But even with that, so the force and opposite force line, was that also kind of in relation to attraction, subtraction, love and hate, plus and minus, kind of wrapping the thing up full circle, kind of?
I think that's another one like earlier where I don't think I quite I think I was gonna try to like nail the force and opposite force thing a little harder, and then I just let it sit. I was like, you know what? I was gonna do something about charge, and I literally like started to assess charge in my head. I was like, am I even being scientifically accurate? I was over assessing my bar.
I'm
Like,
about to fact check you right now.
I was like, does that make sense? Like, does that? I was like, are the scientists folks not gonna like this? No, but I was like, I didn't even feel like Googling it. I literally started to Google it, like remind myself of magnets and how they work. And I was like, nah, I got them both. All I know is I got the force and the opposite force. I got both of them. It's kind of a lazy bar. It's like, I should have said like, I think I was gonna be like, what's the opposite of force? And I was like, opposite force. It's just a lazy bar.
Listen, yo, it's like putting D in front of everything, or like you know when you put in words and you just put like it's not, the word doesn't even make sense. You just put D or un. It's kind of lit. I kind of.
There was a
funny,
great word.
adds humor to it, you know.
I was in the car today listening to Roxanne Shante, and her DJ created a word like on the fly. He was talking about some show they were watching, and he was talking about what a good show does to you, and he said that it had good interrelationability. And she let it fly too. The best part was she let him go the whole way, and she didn't even bring it back up for like 2 minutes. And then she was like just peppered into her part. She's like, and I love how every Friday on Roxanne Shante you get a new vocabulary lesson because we give you new words. Like, and then she didn't even make fun of him. She like told him it was like the right word because it summed up her mood. She was saying like the inter. She even explained it. She was like, the inter is because I'm interacting, and the reactionary is because I'm and she broke it down. But I was
bars.
Like, I felt her. I was like, if you communicate the meaning to me, I don't care if it's a word. Like you could totally mash it up. Like if I get the communication, I got you. So I like when that happens. Like
It's like when
fancier
Kanye said
artists.
apologen. When Kanye said apologen, and you didn't
There's
even
so
notice.
many
Like I
great
didn't even
ones of
notice it
those.
for years. Till one
There's
time
some
somebody
great
said,
ones
like,
of those.
damn, that was crazy. Still genius though, you know what I'm saying?
It's funny when you're
Super.
young and you get introduced to certain words, or like, I mean, Illmatic is one of those, but there's certain whole words that like you'll get used to, and you're like, you grow up on it, or like, isn't that's said that way, or like the context, like that's just how you first heard it, and so you always know it. Like there's definitely first words I know from Snoop, like from Chronic, like that's just I was like 12 or 11, and I memorized that whole album, and I just know certain words from like it's just how it is. So it's wild how
Every
that
time you
happens.
hear it, you're just like, yo, I got this from here. Yeah,
I think
100%.
tripping, the word tripping, I think is from some album. Like I can't remember which album it is, but like I always reference that. Like I always almost bounce back to 7th grade when I hear the word tripping. Like I remember like hearing an album, and I remember not even knowing what that meant, being like, and when my friends be like, oh, you look, he's tripping. He don't even know what tripping meant. Like they kind of mocked me because it's not right to my face because I didn't know what it meant. And then like, but it's funny. Like that's you timestamp certain words or language or sometimes songs with like where you were when that happened. So it's language is like that too. So it's funny how real words and fake words can kind of, it can go either way.
It's a fact, and I feel like that's what with slang, and I feel like that's why, especially with rap, it's crazy the different eras, because it's like if you don't like, let's say for me, if I wasn't alive during that time, or if I didn't get that slang, I'll never understand it until I go back, But with rap too, a lot of things build up, so it's like you'll get slang, and it's like, how do we even get this word? And it's like we're so far rooted, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying with like, this person got it from here, got it from here, got it from here, and it kind of like sometimes you don't even know what you're saying at this point. You don't know who the originator came from, and it's kind of dope in that way because it continues to change.
Bro, I was listening to what's LL Cool J's radio station. I forget what it's called, but I was listening to it today, and Backspin or something like that. That might be the old one. Anyways, and there was definitely an old school record on, and the dude said, and it was I can't remember. I think it was an Africa Bambaataa record that I hadn't heard before, and the dude said he was like telling the crowd to dance, right? He was telling them like what to do, and he told them to he told the fellas to dance so low till their pants split, and then he said that's why we call it a gigolo, and he let the bar just sit, like he just let it sit, like he let gigolo sit, and like I just sat there in the car, like let it hit me, like it's like a low dance, it's a gigolo, and then he was also the chorus was about gigolos too, and it cracked. I just died, like I was in the right place to catch, and he let it sit. He like it was almost corny, but the way he let it like hang, it was like perfect too. And I thought of context and of era and of like the sound, like when this was hitting, and I was like, it was wow. It's just so funny to watch somebody do like break down slang in their era. Like, bam! Yeah. It was wild. And then like I don't know, it's just funny. So and sometimes you don't ever catch something like that. So I've just taken the word gigolo for granted. Never heard that rap reference, but it's funny to you sometimes it comes back around and you fill in the blanks a little.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, it's for me, it's like it's always dope when the bar drops on you and then you catch it and you're just like, damn. Like for me, that's one of the main reasons why I love rap so much. It's like just that, like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying? That feeling when you get it, just, right?
I love the double. Yeah, because the first one hits you like, oh, like it sounds fresh to everybody in the room, right? Like everybody caught the oh, and then you like he's already on the next couplet, and you like part of your brain is still piecing, like maybe is on like level 2, and then hits what? Wait, what? Like, and that feeling is hip hop is why folks who love lyrics, like that's what we come back for. That's I guess that's the aha moment, or that's related to that at least. But that double take, I love that wave when you really get when you fully grasp what just hit you. Oh, that's what it's all about.
You're like grabbing the arm of the dude next to you, like yo.
Oh, I miss that moment so bad. Like me several of my friends do that. They won't even like the rest of their body is stone faced. Like you can, if you look at their face, they're not even reacting to the rapper, but they'll be grabbing my arm, like elbowing me so hard, like you see what he's doing right now, and like, but if you looked at him, you wouldn't even know it. But he's like punching me, and it's just so funny. Rappers don't want to quite break their poker face, but they'll if you're their man, like they know bars and you guys know bars, like yeah, you're like yo, you see what's happening.
It's
Oh man,
crazy. Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
wait for shows to happen again, man. We'll be in that moment someday again of like, you know, just watching lyricists go off and being part of that. It's a
Hmm.
beautiful thing.
Yeah, and then it's going to be dope. And I know you, well, with you, C.Shreve, IT, you do be doing a lot of performances and stuff. And like, I mean, is there anything else to kind of, let the viewers who are fans of Life is a Freestyle to kind of keep up with you? I know you just dropped the single, Go For Mine. I'm listening to the clean mix actually, which is really
Hey.
dope that it exists, But,
Yeah,
but yeah.
you got to have the clean mix sometimes because like a couple of times I would go to a like a radio station and I realized I had like no
Mhm.
clean songs, and so
Oh, yeah.
and usually the radio station, I guess they got like a iTunes, they already got an account, like they can get all the music, they have an
Mm.
account, so they just want, but they're like, yo, you got no clean ones, so that happened to me a couple of
Oh,
times, so I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
started. Yeah, you kind of like shoot yourself in the foot sometimes if you don't take a. Yeah, so I don't usually cuss that much, but just clip a couple words out and it makes it good to go.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, I started making beats during quarantine and all, but then I also just decided to make a podcast, really inspired by what we've done, what I've seen with Life as a Freestyle, what we've been inspired by with SOSA, just kind of also realizing I'm not in a classroom and I'm not that rusty yet. I can still kind of speak well, I think, and convey my points on topics. So I started a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Who Needs a Classroom? It's kind of a bar of its own. Like, I figure when I can get out on the road and go do shows, I'll probably just do like little, like, vlogs in the car. Like, I want to use it to talk trash about the bullshit we see on the road because, you'll see rappers rapping over vocals and people shorting you for money. And there's a lot of stuff to talk about from a rap perspective. So I think some of it will end up being like a rap life podcast type thing, and it'll kind of be like, who needs a classroom? I'm a rapper now type thing. But it also means like I was a teacher, so I'm trying to kind of say, like, for the people who don't want to go to school, who don't like school, I didn't always like it either. I always try to make my class like a cool thing that you'd want to come to, and that was about things that were pertinent to your life. So that's kind of what the podcast is for, is to be like, if you need a classroom or a person who doesn't like the classroom, like the normal one, then go for a workout and throw on a 20-minute thing of me talking trash about, I don't know. I find random topics that are things I want to talk about. So I'm on like 14 episodes. So look up Who Needs a Classroom podcast. That's my new thing. It gives me a place just to do kind of this type of thing. Eventually I'm gonna do interviews. I might start doing these little split screens, but I always pictured it being more of an in-person thing, like when rappers come to the house and like we sit down and have a chat in the studio type thing. But I may have to just adjust my vision for what 2020 and 2021 is. So yeah, but check out music. The music is under like C.Shreve, the professor, on all the platforms, on Bandcamp, wherever you want to find it. So I got music going way back. So I'm gonna keep rapping. And the next album will probably have a lot more of my beats on it, and probably I'm gonna try to do some of my own. Now that I'm doing production, I've got a good handful of beats. I'm gonna try to. I want to do a project with like as many friend features like yourself, and like get a bunch of the ITs on there.
I got you, IT. Holla. I'm ready.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. As soon as I cook these beats, I gotta figure out which beat makes sense for which person. But I'm going feature heavy pretty soon. Of like, I want to get, there may be many folks watching this right now that may get hit up by me. If you're an IT on here, you're probably getting hit up. So I'm gonna try just, I don't know. We can't do shows, so I'm trying to channel all my energy to like, just to the art. Yeah, or to like just to like make them stacking music. Some people, I feel like any strategy is cool if you want to stack your music and then like put it all out at once when the world opens up. Like have a battle plan, like a rollout. That's cool. If you want to just keep releasing music to make sure, because people can't do anything, so they're listening, they're watching. So it's a good time actually to release music because people want to hear stuff. But I understand, but a lot of people are hesitant because there's no shows. Like for me, I was like, man, I'm a live show guy. Like I do 50 shows a year, like more than that sometimes. But like part of my whole thing is do the show live and maybe sell some CDs, but at least have people see me live and be like, wow. And then they go to the music. I'm much more, the live show drives my music as opposed to the reverse. I'm not like a viral guy. I've never gone like internet viral. So it's always been like, do the blue collar work and go get in front of people. But now you can't get in front of people. So I think whatever you want to do is totally cool, whether that's putting music out now or stockpiling it for later, but just find a way to like not feel stuck, whether that's, even if it's not writing, like say your pen gets stuck and you're like, man, I'm like bummed out. That's where I started making beats. I needed to express my music through like, not just writing, but like creating soundscapes. And now I'm writing to them and I'm writing more than I was writing before. So it's like, sometimes you have to, if you've been wanting to learn about some topic, it's a good time to go down that rabbit hole on YouTube and learn about like biochemistry or whatever you want to learn about. That'll inform you later. Like if you love, I've been on a gangster flick like rabbit hole. I've been watching like all these like just mob clips from movies and stuff, and like classic Goodfellas scenes and classic. I watched Godfather the other night, and I went down that rabbit hole that I hadn't been on in years. And so all I'm saying that is find your version of making use of your time. Like a lot of us have wanted some time for a long time to like have space to do something, to watch a little bit of YouTube clips or like, but just take advantage of your time and use your intention. Like we're talking about intention, like if you've been wanting to be a better rapper, you better be rapping. If you've been wanting to be a better producer, obviously do that. If you always wanted to, whatever, learn Portuguese, get on it, like, you know, and that'll, you know, whatever it might be, because it'll help you later. So my things have been making beats, which I always wanted to do. And then making a podcast, just because I'm a 21st century human who needs attention, like the rest of y'all.
But I mean, if you have something to say, I mean, you know, you're a professor, you kind of, you know, well, you definitely got a lot of like information to give. So I mean, it's something that's useful, right?
I think it's really easy for rappers. There's probably some rappers that'll watch this, and it's really easy for all of us rappers to say, like, at certain moments, like, especially like when real crazy stuff's happening in the world, like stuff's really real, and like, or something real happens in your life, or just, you know, stuff hits the fan, so to speak. It's real easy to be like, what am I doing over here writing poetry and like acting like we're very much modern troubadours, like dudes just walking around, look, my rhymes are nicer than yours. Like that's what we do at shows. Like we do that. And so sometimes if you allow yourself to belittle it, you can think your existence is very meager. Because now I'm trying to be a full-time rapper. So like I can really look at myself in the mirror and do that little double check where I'm like, man, are you really gonna make this happen? So the doubt creeps in, like, oh man, it's a quarantine. What are you thinking? Why are you doing this? So you have to somehow shake that off and not get lost in that doubt. And sometimes that means like, some people just charge head on and write bars every day and just, you know, I'm gonna do that. Sometimes like for me, it's been like, okay, I did that for a while and for a few months. I still do that, write bars, but like, I wasn't gonna write myself out of some of my funk. I wanted to start making music. I knew I needed something different. I knew I needed to like express myself without rapping. Like that's what the podcast is, just talking. Sometimes we have to just speak. You know, I wanted a place to speak, and like, I can't say everything I want to say in just a 16 or in like inner rhyme, you know, with, you know, multiples.
59 seconds.
Yeah, 59 seconds, exactly. So no, it's all good. I knew you were gonna do this too. So it's but like a constraint is good. It makes me do it, but it also is a constraint. So it's beautiful, like, as all the little paradoxes we're talking about, to allow the constraint of like, okay, there's no shows. That's a constraint, but that equals I should have like one of the most productive music years ever, because yeah, it's lame that I can't road test music now. I don't like that at all. I don't like that I can't tell which beats knock in front of everybody, or like which choruses work. I love to know which chorus goes hard, like which ones y'all call and respond on, which ones work. I'm a very much like a straight up, let's go trial and error, test it on the road. And I literally like, well, I'll write something, test it, rewrite, or like tweak it before I've even released it, you know? Like, and then once I know it works, then release it. Like, so it was a part of my process. So now that's a constraint. I don't have that. So now it's like, but now I got time, right? So so time equaled is a different thing. So it's like, I don't know. I'm home with, I wanted to be home with my 10-year-old more. Like when I was out every other night, every like 2 nights, every week for shows, like I know he missed me. And I was like, he needed a dad in the house. And now, I'm super dadding it up. We do workouts every day. We, you know, I'm in homeschool with a 10-year-old every day. And so when he's on the computer, I make a beat over here or something. So it's like, you got to make what you're doing work. And so some people that's more difficult than others, but I think everybody's going through it right now. So somehow find a way to like, I don't know. I've tried to find mine. I don't know that I'm always finding it. Some days I have more than others, but
I feel like that's with everybody, kind of like, you know, you get that slump, you get that
hit the slump,
push forward, and you get the slump, and then you know, and I feel like it's kind of just being at home all day kind of like situation, you know. You don't want to get, it's like you do want to go out, but you don't want to risk getting people infected. You don't want to risk getting your, you know, loved ones. You don't want to risk all that stuff, and it's like, yeah, I can't do shows, so what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna create. But then it's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of one of those like weird spaces, I feel like. And I feel like once things start to kind of open up again, and once, you know, hopefully things become better, it's gonna change. And if they don't right away, it's going to change the complete landscape of everything, I think, right? So it'll be kind of fun to see, but I mean, not fun to see, but you get what I'm saying,
well,
right? Like
there's some things that are fun to see. I think I'm actually kind of, it's gonna be frustrating to watch in some ways, but it's gonna be kind of interesting to watch, because I know
interesting's a better word.
Yeah, I know you rappers. I know from a rapper perspective, rappers, there's gonna be this gray area. It's gonna happen like in a few months, like this summer, or sometime when like the restrictions start to be pulled back and people think they can do shows. And like, it's really gonna be the rapper's call. I've already seen this in South Carolina. South Carolina has been like kind of real aggressive with their laws, and like, so people have tried to throw some shows and have thrown some shows and have pulled them off. And so you're going to see more of that. Like, do folks from New York come down to South Carolina or go to Texas to do shows? Or like, at what point do the artists really have to kind of hold themselves accountable and say, you know, no, for whatever reason, whatever stand you're taking, like, I don't want to put my audience in harm's way, and I won't be doing shows until, you know, but there's going to be a gray area where there's a bottom line, there's people's whole businesses, there's whole record label budgets involved, and it's going to get kind of dicey where there's going to be a whole little festival and they're going to claim it's social distance, but it's going to definitely infect like 1,000 people. Something like that's going to happen. Like, there's going to be a super spreader concert event and people are like, oops, we just got all the audience, like, you know. So I'm kind of the thinking, like, instead of going in the gray area, just make a bunch of music, stockpile like amazing music, make the best music you can make, somehow stay inspired. Like I think you're just saying, like, it's hard to write that song in your little cocoon every day. You realize like how inspiring like your subway ride was, or whatever, like the way you people watched or whatever helped you to, like, I don't know, toss some new ideas around type thing, you know? So you have to find your new version of that. Like, we were saying with SOSA, like, write your 16 somewhere else. Don't write it in your normal space. Go out there, you know, go to a different place to write it. And that's harder to do now that the places aren't open, right? So you can't just go to the coffee shop.
You gotta go for a walk outside, you know?
Right, you gotta go for a walk, but don't see anybody. You gotta, like, you know, it's a hard space to be in. But maybe that means something more subtle. Maybe you always write in the evening, at night. Maybe you need to write early in the morning. You just tweak something slightly that maybe you do have control of. It's like don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry type thing, you know. Maybe don't write when you're in certain moods, or maybe do write in certain. Maybe if you've never written when you're sad, write a sad rap and be like, "Dag on, I didn't even know I felt that way." Or like, you know, learn to really, like, I don't know, just like we were saying, get out of your comfort zone and find like a different space to operate in, because eventually, you know, you don't have to always release that sad rap. You can not release that. You can totally write the sad rap that informs this monster bar rap where you make him sad. Like, and that's masculine because you're a tough guy. But you just got to find your way to be inspired, I think, if you're a rapper. And it's hard right now. And that's where I feel like sometimes when I'm doing the podcast or if I'm making beats, some part of me, I got like Lou IT on my shoulder, like, write your raps, you're a rapper. Like, I feel like, you know, because like I need to be writing some raps. Like, I need to be as sharp as possible to keep up with the sharpest people out there. And that's kind of, but at the same time, I've really come to the conclusion I got to do other things too. Like, you know, we're well-rounded humans. We got to be sharp in other aspects. So I felt like I'm gonna keep rapping, but I'm gonna also add these other, like, you know, tools to my tool belt. Yeah, exactly. Because the next thing you know, it informs my raps. My raps inform it. I was realizing, like, I'm so much more glad that I was a rapper who came to being a producer than the reverse. Because, like, if you're a producer, you can make these ill beats, right? You're like, oh, you're killing it. But you don't even know if you're a good rapper yet, right? You might be slinging these whack bars, just whack sauce 101 at everybody. And you just, like, you don't even know. But I'm a rapper. I've been rapping the whole time. And yet I know what a good beat sounds like. So I think I'll hopefully be able to have like my radar up, that I'm like, I'm not, this is dope, right? I'm not like thinking it's cool because I made it. Like, I don't want that to happen. You know, you wouldn't want to like just gas yourself up.
Like, lie to yourself.
Well, I mean, I've always said that. Imagine if you're like Rihanna or like any superstar, if you're that big and you make like some hot garbage, and then you don't have your man or somebody to check you on it and be like, yo, nah, get rid of that. If you don't, like, if you put it out, it's gonna go viral. You're Rihanna. Like, it's going to get 12 million views today, even if it's hot garbage. And then, so how would you even be aware? Like, how would you be self-aware enough if you, like, you have so many yes men, if by accident, what if you made the beat? What if you, like, you know, you're really feeling yourself? And next thing you know, like, oh man, you put out just a piece of trash. Like, but
I feel like the important thing is like the team, you know, like having
the
friends
team,
who are gonna like
exactly.
check you.
Nobody,
You know what I'm
the
saying?
team should check you.
Respect.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I said Rihanna. If you're a person, I don't know what her team is like. I'm just saying, if you're so famous that you have a lot of yes men, like I think that's almost the Trump thing. If everybody's just telling you, yeah, it's a great idea, good job, go get it, go ahead. Like if nobody checks you and says, nah, this is, I don't think these folks are gonna mess with that. Like if nobody says that to you, and I think that can happen to somebody who's like, you know, imagine if you're Pharrell and you're a super producer who sings, and like the key I think becomes your team. Who's around you to kind of be like, oh, I think you're getting out of pocket. I don't think you need
But
to
the
make.
thing is, I feel like there's certain artists who are so about their craft that they criticize themselves more than people. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of
Absolutely.
rappers, I feel like are very like like for me, I'm super overcritical with my work. Like I try to every time, like I never hear it. I can't enjoy it the way that maybe somebody else might enjoy it. 'Cause I'm always like hearing the mistakes, kind of like just like damn, like you know this part could have been better. Like you kind of hear it from a
100%.
point where it's like the person next to you won't see that, right? So I feel like a lot of artists are kind of like to that degree where it's like you need the second opinion to reaffirm yours. Like if you know something's whack and you ask somebody, they tell you, nah, it's good. You're like, you know, but if they tell you it's whack, you're like, yeah, it's whack. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a double check kind of, right? So
Right. No, I think that circle or that some kind of a check is absolutely vital. I think probably the higher I've not experienced those super high levels. So, and like I'm kind of that meticulous person as well. So I'm gonna think it's whack 8 million takes before anybody would have thought. Like I would even got to any. I won't go down. I'm such a like double checking. I have self-doubt. I have a lower level of confidence. I have to like overprove it to myself. I have to like make sure the beat. That's just kind of who I am naturally. Is kind of I have to do extra work to convince myself usually. But I know there's folks out there that like you can get gassed up from the circle around you, and then like if you drop tomorrow and it literally goes like it goes, no matter what you do, it's gonna get 12 million hits. I think that would be a very difficult, a potentially dangerous spot for pressure, and then the potential to like not if you don't have a good circle and you don't trust the people around you, then you're very insulated. And if you're making the music, like I love some Prince. I love so much of Prince's catalog, but there's plenty of Prince's catalog that's way out there, and you're like, you can just tell he's the main check, himself. Like there's not many checks going on, which I actually love because it lets you go way off into left field. But sometimes it might have been helpful for somebody you trust to have been like, I think that might not be the single, you know. It's kind of, I don't know, but at the same time it's beautiful to watch. Like you said with Pharrell, I was almost trying to think of a song that Pharrell could do that might not work, and I was about to be like, if he did some electro bluegrass classic rock, and it would be bananas. Exactly. I couldn't even come up with a genre. I was like thinking, what if it'd have to be like an orchestra meets like street guitar. I was like, nope, that would be ill as could be. Like I can't even think of a combination. Yeah. So you're exactly right. There's some people that they hold themselves to such a dopeness standard. Like Timberland isn't gonna give Jay-Z a whack beat ever. It's never gonna happen. Like they're not gonna make a whack song. So like, I don't know. There's certain artists that are gonna hold themselves to a standard that, you know, is difficult to fall off from, I guess. Or maybe not.
Yeah. 100% IT. And I feel like, it's a fact. I mean, like a lot of times, I feel like you get to that level where you can't even produce like a whack piece anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of like great rappers, you know, like I don't think Jay-Z can pick a whack verse ever. Like I don't think there could be a whack Jay-Z verse in terms of like he's only competing with himself at some points. You know what I'm saying? Like some artists, it's like they're so good that if you think it's whack, it's only because they've done something that's way great. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's to a point where you only competing with yourself. Sorry?
I was gonna say you probably missed something. You probably just missed something. You know, if you think
exactly
it's whack.
Exactly right. Or it's like most of the time with big artists, it gets to a point where it's like, oh, that's not as good as his earlier stuff. But it's like, damn, if you're comparing, like, you know what I'm saying? If you compare me with myself, that means I'm mad ill. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I win both. It's kind of like a paradox. You're gonna play both songs. Like,
exactly, right? It's like, yo, you don't think it's as good as the first stuff, but it's like, hey, first of all, you're bugging. But at the same time, it's like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a loop type thing, right? But yeah,
speaking of Jay, man, Jay is such a good loop. His loop in terms of being relevant for so many different eras. Like the fact that he's able to make an album like Reasonable Doubt that's always referenced, the fact that he also made that into a line of saying like, you know, you want my old stuff, buy my old album. And that was on Blueprint 3. Think how many eras later that is. And like to be able to like constantly, like I don't know, that's an artist every rapper looks to and it's like, whew, it's impressive to see what he's done the entire time.
That's a fact, yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, you know,
he's Ho for a reason. I mean, like, he's gonna be out there in Vegas when he's like 77, just crushing him and B, just blah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, yo, we've been on this live for like 2 hours, Shreve, IT. Yo.
Yeah, man. We got to
wrap
it up, right?
IT. I don't even know how to wrap it up at this point. I mean, yo, it's too much things in the description now. We kind of went through a bunch of different loops, a bunch of different things, broke down verse. We got your podcast, which is
Who Needs a Classroom?
Who Needs a Classroom? Who Needs a Classroom? Okay, so we got that. You just dropped a recent song called "Go for Mine." Yo. Go for mine.
Hey.
Bars. Even in the names, bars.
Hey.
Bars. But yeah, I mean, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, it was a wonderful conversation. Sorry, I'm just a little like my phone's like 4%. Like I've been shifting around.
You're
right?
good, man.
And I mean, thank you for joining us, man. We learned a lot from you. Definitely looking forward to more of your work. Definitely looking forward to more of your beats. I know you better kill it.
Sir.
And we just need to see you more. We need more Shreve visibility. Like, we need to where you at. You know what I'm saying, IT? And thank you for joining us and very much appreciate it. And we'll definitely talk more. I mean, peace,
yes,
IT.
Sir.
Take care.
Peace, IT.